All right. So thank you everyone for joining me today. A lot's going on. I want to share with you that I spent the whole weekend last weekend writing my predictions for July. And I also already did my YouTube. I call this YouTube the most important YouTube I've done so far. Now, there'll probably be more to come after this. But there is so much that is about to happen in July. And we're going to talk about the positive effects and what we can do with this, because the first few weeks of July are such positive energy. I've been telling everyone, use this time for manifestation. All the planets will be in their own sign of rulership. And those that don't know astrology, just know this means all the planets and what they represent. They're more powerful to express what they're all about. So we can use this, and this is positive. Mars is energy, Jupiter is expansion, Saturn is discipline, Venus is love, Mercury's communications, and these are all the things that are being empowered during this time. You're going to feel the energy. Something wonderful could come about in the world. But as I say, there is an opposing viewpoint on what's wonderful, and always in this world, because it is a world of duality. There's a world of opposites. So at the end of the month, everything's going to shift and change, and we have to be ready. Not that we need to be fearful, because the most important thing is to not be full of fear. That blocks everything. Fear is the root of all negative emotion. If people are greedy or jealous, it's because they feel like there's not enough. What is that? They're fearful. If people are angry and upset, it's because of something that they're fearful about. So fear is the baseline negative emotion that we must stay away from. And it's going to be pretty hard, let me tell you, because I see one of the biggest events ever happening beginning the very last day of July, but we're going to feel it way before then, probably third week of July. But really what it is, now let's look at this from a positive vantage point. It is a purging of everything that's been going on. We need that. There's been so many things that are so irritating and bugging us, and all these things going on globally. It's not just in the United States, although I do know there's going to be something big happening in the United States, but it's probably happening all over the world. And I know a lot of you are everywhere in Canada, Australia, and Europe right now. We're all going to be affected by this event. And what is this event? This event is going to purge and bring everything up so that we can heal. And that's the most important thing for you to always, always keep at the core essence of your being, knowing that this is going to heal and make a better world. That's what we have to know, and that's what we have to hold on to. And the word, I meditated this morning and asked, what is it I'm here to tell everyone? What is the word? I always get like one word, and we can make out of it what we need. And the word that comes out is protection. So protection, what does that mean? And yes, I'm saying in my videos and such coming up soon, we do need to protect our assets, because as you can see, the stock market's really going nuts. And I know a lot of you may not be into the stock market. That's good, but it's a reflection of the emotions in the world. It goes down when there's a lot of fear. So there's going to be a lot of fear, so the stock market's going to go down. Therefore, that affects the economy. So people are going to be freaking out. But you know, it's not the end, like people act like it's the end. All these things will come back, maybe not as quickly as they have previously, but they're going to come back. If you want to just ride the wave, don't sit there and moan and groan, oh, my stocks, look where they are now. I've lost this much money. Nobody's lost any money on the stock market till they sell their stocks. Okay. That's what we have to always remind ourselves of. So it will come back. It may take a year. I personally don't like taking money in and out because it ruins the economy. And I believe the stock market is about business, but you know, some people, they want their money in a safe place. Maybe that's why I got the word protection. But another thing that comes to me really strong about the word protection is that we need to be protective of our families and ourselves. And what that means to me is prayer. So here's what I'll share with you how I pray, because when I used to travel all the time, I would be gone 3 days a week as a flight attendant, and I had 3 small children. And sometimes I would go into a panic attack thinking about what if they got out and got into the pool? You know, all that kind of stuff would hit me and I would go into a panic attack. And here I am working on an airplane away from home. The only thing that gave me peace was when I would pray to Divine Mother. Divine Mother is the spirit of nurturing and protection. And no matter what religion you're in, you can think of it as, you know, Mary in Catholicism, or you can think of Divine Mother, you know, in India. They do have this essence that they pray to that is protecting, nurturing, and healing. So I would pray that my children would be protected. And to be honest with you, I used to beg. I would go over and over and over again with that prayer. Please, please help me, help me. And this voice came, and I might have already told you this, but this is relative to what we need to do right now. This voice came loud and clear, said, I heard you, stop it. All you have to do is ask me once and the job is done. So that's what we have to do just every morning. And maybe every night if you want, just because it feels really good to connect to that healing, nurturing, protective energy of the Divine Mother and say, protect my family, protect me and my family. And it's done. And don't have any more fear about it, because remember, what we're putting out there, we're attracting back into our lives. So if you're scared to death that something terrible is going to happen to you, guess what? You could attract that. But what you want to attract is protection. So put those prayers out there, and I promise you, all of you will be protected. I don't care if there's an earthquake or any of those things that I talk about in my videos. There is going to be a lot of earthquakes, but you know what? All of you are going to be protected. That is an absolute promise to you. Okay? Put that prayer out there, ask Divine Mother, or whatever deity or spirit that you feel like will give you nurturing and protection. Whatever you feel most affiliated with and the most sense of calm and protection, do that one prayer. You don't have to beg and plead all day long. One prayer once a day or twice a day if you feel the need to just totally get into that spiritual sense of being heard by all that is the divinity of love, healing, protection. But Divine Mother, I mean, our mothers, for the most part, were there to protect us and nurture us and care for us. I know some of you may not have had the mother that you wanted, but that is what a mother does. And that's what Divine Mother does. So I want everyone to practice this one little prayer once or twice a day, and I promise you, you're protected. So that's what I got in terms of the message to give to everyone, because the world is going to be, I get between now and the end of the year, there is going to be more calamity than's happened in a very, very, very long time. Okay. I actually got, if y'all get my newsletter, I did a little research. This was kind of fun. It's the middle of the day and Saturday, and I went back historically to see when that particular aspect happened the very last time. And what aspect I'm talking about for the astrologers here is Mars, Uranus, and Rahu will all come together. This is so weird. They will conjoin all three of them on the same degree, which is 24 degrees of Aries. So that has to be something big happening. And I went back the last time that it happened. Now it didn't come together exactly, but almost did exactly, was 1855. So today with computers and all, it's very wonderful that we can go, what happened in 1855 around March or April, because that's when it happened. And the most interesting thing came up, because it's kind of what's happening right now. It said that, and I have that link in my newsletter, although I might put it at the bottom because I don't want people clicking on that link and leaving my newsletter, if you know what I mean, just to see that article. But the article was about voter fraud in Kansas and Nebraska, and that was the bloodiest fight. And it was all about voter fraud, and that it actually initiated the Civil War. I thought, what? There's kind of like this thing coming up again about all the votes in Trump. So what could happen because of this is a civil war, because, you know, here's the thing, no matter what you believe or what side you're on, there's two sides. That's the duality. And not only are there two sides, but pretty much half of the country was divided over that. When you put the odds of two opposites, we could have some major violent events due to this. Now, maybe I'm completely wrong, but that was what I found when I went back to the last time that this conjunction occurred. So we will see if it has anything to do with this, but that's how I work astrologically. I find an aspect, I go back and see what happened before. And that was kind of like very, very interesting. So I don't know, but I'm putting it out there because that's what happened before. Now, another thing about protection that I want to say before we go on. Whenever you want something, if you want protection, or if you want guidance, or if you want success in your life, or if you want someone that's loyal in your life, you have to be these things. Remember that. So what you put out, you get back always. So what am I trying to say about protection? You give yourself protection, and you give your family members and everyone around you a sense of nurturing, which gives them a sense of protection. They're protected. So you have to be a protector if you want protection in your life. Anything that you want, you have to be. That's another thing I want to say. This is the real time where we can manifest too. And as a matter of fact, these classes that we hold once a week, there's never been a time historically where it wasn't more important to have these. And there's never been a time, in my opinion, in the next few weeks that we can manifest what we desire the most in our lives. Please take this to heart. These planets are so strong. This is an incredible time for manifestation. And even though the world's going to go crazy, we're going to be okay. And we can just watch it as, you know, the purging that needs to happen. And a movie that's happening. Remember, a lot of the great saints said, you know, look at this as a projection, as though it were a movie, because it's not real. What's truly real is our spiritual path, which now leads me to the pictures that I pulled for for today, and the message, the first one I didn't like, so I did another one afterwards. I'm kind of like, you know how anybody that does the tarot cards, you get a bad reading, you go, well, wait a minute, maybe that they didn't understand what I meant, so let me do another one, right? But I pulled two, and I think it's meaningful because actually my book that I put together that I told you guys about with all the pictures I gathered about 30 years ago and put together this book of images. I used to do it where I did it a series of 4 times to answer a question, because each of the images led to something else telling us something more. But I didn't particularly, you know, here, y'all help me with this. This is the picture I got. So what it is some old men. They're in a funeral. They're carrying the casket. They're all pretty old, so I would assume it's one of their friends that's elderly as they are. They look to me like they're kind of in Ireland or something by the hats they have on. Of course, this is pretty old. But what do you think that means, that they're carrying, and I'm assuming it's one of their friends, so the person who has passed is old, and you get to pick their faces. I mean, here's what I think it could mean, looking at it from a positive viewpoint. There's something old that needs to die in our lives, and it deals with something in our past, because these, you know, these are elderly men. It's an elderly man, but it's something from our past that we need to eliminate and let die. And, you know, when I look at this, it also makes me think of the nakshatra Purva Bhadrapada, where we have Jupiter, I believe, right now. We'll look at that in just a minute, because Purva Bhadrapada and that nakshatra deals with the back end of the funeral cot. And, you know, there's guys that are holding the front end, which is actually, no, Purva Bhadrapada is the front end of the funeral cot. Uttara Bhadrapada is the back end of the funeral cot. And this nakshatra is in the sign of Pisces. So Pisces being the last sign of the zodiac, this deals with endings. And that's what this deals with, endings. So there's an end that's coming about, and it deals with something from the past. And we've got to bury it. That's what I think some of this is about. Let it go, in other words. So let me look at this now. I do want you guys to tell me if you see anything I'm missing in this as well. But I said, you know, it's kind of it's not a very uplifting picture. So what did I do? I pulled another one, which I think has enormous meaning to what we're going through, and relative even to that picture. Notice in this picture, I don't know if you guys can notice it or not, but let me tell you, of course, it's a path, a beautiful path. Looks like, well, it doesn't look like, there is snow there, because if you'll notice, the deer has tracks where it's walked through the snow, but the man does not. As the man walks, there's no tracks in the snow. And this is a beautiful path. It is snow. What do you think that means? I mean, to me, when I look at any path, I always kind of think of the Wizard of Oz. We talked about that last week, the symbology there. So when I think about it, it's a path that we're going, but we don't need to leave tracks, or we don't, what I get, if you're not leaving tracks, your spirit, you're not of this world, you know, you are not leaving the tracks. But this is our spiritual path that we're all pretty much going along. And to be honest with you, I'm not clear on what this means. I'm sure some of you out there can really shed light on this, that he's going down the path. And the deer's looking at him like something mystical about that man. He's not of this world. And maybe that's exactly what it means. We can't be so much of this world. We have to be in our spiritual body during these times, because you know what? A lot of people are going to need our light. One more thing I got to share with you that is fascinating. I love this. One of my new students, and she's a client of mine, her name's Joni. She just joined the university. She does flower essences, and she does them for the signs. She does them for, you know, vibrational healing. She's a doctor. She sent me the most amazing samples of all of her stuff. I mean, I hit the gold mine. She sent me as a gift. Unbelievable, all of her flower essences and things she does. But I got to share with you this one. Look at the name of it. Shooting Star. Shooting Star. I can't believe it. I mean,
tell us what it smells like.
Well, it's a tincture. So, ooh, it smells good. I can't describe a smell. I mean, yeah, I mean, some people do. Of course, it's a little flower. It smells like flowers, but here's what it says on it. This is for all of us with the shooting star. There's no coincidences always. Shooting star, it says, know your purpose, connect with your higher self, experience feelings of belonging. Don't you think that's exactly what we're doing here? All three of those things. We're coming together with a feeling of belonging, and we are connecting to our higher self. And with all of that, we will know our purpose. And that's why we're all here. And of course, I did a couple of shots of it before class because I felt like I need to get in touch with this. But I thought that was such an omen. Shooting star, and exactly what we're doing here in this series. So that was confirmation for all of us. And yeah, let's go. Let's share and look at the charts now. And then I want to get some feedback on anything that any of you have manifested during this time period. And if you haven't manifested anything yet, don't worry about it. You will. We're going to talk about different tools and techniques and continue to, especially, you know, we have all these wonderful teachers that are going to come every month to give us guidance and help us see things from their perspective and how we can work and change our lives. And this is beautiful because you can talk to these people. They are not just, you know, untouchable people. You can talk to me. So this is what this group is about. It's not just watching people do YouTubes. You get to be part of the whole process and communicate with us all. So let me share the screen and get that out of the way. And here is today, starting at noon. Now the ascendant, you know, starting as the months change, the ascendant when we first started was happening up here in Pisces. Now it's shifted at 12 noon down to Leo. But I thought this was interesting that the sun is at the very last degree of Taurus today. So by tomorrow, the sun will be in Gemini. So it's going to move to a place of from dealing with financial issues and security to Gemini, which will be more about communications. But more than anything, when we look at a day, what's going on each day, we should always look to where the moon is. And the moon sits over here in Sagittarius. And in this chart, it's in the 5th house, which is the house of creativity. And this is a time that we've come together because we want to create certain things, peace, love, connection. Wait, everything that this is about, knowing ourselves, connecting with our higher self, and experiencing the feeling of belonging. Everyone wants to feel connected and belong to something or have like-minded friends. That's why we're here today. It feels so good. Now, the moon being in the nakshatra called Mula, this is part of the galactic center. You know, the nakshatras in and of themselves, in my opinion about the nakshatras, they deal with the stars that are in that grouping. The stars are what give them their meaning. And the galactic center is the root of, and they say in the old Vedic text, the galactic center is the place where consciousness comes out of. It's where the divine resides, because in the whole processional process, the closer Earth gets to the galactic center, they say the more awareness that will be on planet Earth. Now, let me remind everyone, planet Earth is still a physical domain, and it is a world of duality. And my thoughts on why it's a world of duality is we have the sun and the moon, and they're opposite. The sun represents day, the moon represents light. Now, if you lived on another planet, you may have 3 moons, and it could mean something entirely different symbolically for that dimensional plane. I know that might sound crazy to you guys, but I've always thought of it like this. So that's why we have this place of duality. So talking about the stars and the galactic center, in other words, is consciousness. But in order to really come to a place of oneness in consciousness, it won't be completely on this planet, because this is where we come here to learn about our spiritual growth. And through hardship, we learn our lessons here on this earthly dimension. But it is a physical realm. There are other dimensions where things are more like paradise. But this dimension is what it is, and we have to use it for what it's good for, learning and spiritual growth. And so Mula, though, means getting to the core and the bottom of things. Its symbol is a gathering of roots. And actually, it can deal a lot with healing. A lot of people get into homeopathy and things like that. But this is getting to the bottom of things today. That's what I will say, with the moon being in Sagittarius. And Sagittarius, all by itself, is all about finding truth. It is relative, it is the 9th sign, so it's relative to the 9th house. It's about truth finding, spirituality, and Mula is the nakshatra of getting to the bottom of things. So, and as I was mentioning in that first picture of the funeral cot, here is where Jupiter resides in the nakshatra Uttara Bhadrapada, which symbol is the back end of the funeral cot. So, you know, this could mean that there will be, and I hate to say it, a lot of people passing on because of Jupiter's placement here in this nakshatra. It's going to be there till the end of the year. And maybe that's some of the symbology of why I got this picture that could represent death. So it could be just the death of an old way within us, but I do absolutely think it is indicating there's going to be more death on planet Earth because of the uprisings and the violence. And it certainly has been happening with gun violence around the United States. But I think there's a lot more to come with that. That's why I want you to have this tool of protection, the one little prayer to protect you and your family. You're going to be fine. Know it, and it is done. Thy will be done, in other words. So Mars being next to Jupiter right now is enhancing that Jupiter. Of course, you know, these 3 planets deal with the rising cost of oil and fuel. But, you know, over here, we're looking at Venus is going to catch up, and it's going to hit Rahu. That still hasn't happened yet. And really, they're all placed where Venus, they're pretty close together, Venus, Rahu, and Uranus. That could have a difficult effect. Venus being the planet that does deal with finances and money, yeah, the stock market's going up and down. It is going to tumble from what I'm seeing with all the planetary aspects. But like I said, it's not going to stay down, but a lot of people are going to get really heated and excited about that. But most of all, the economy. But Uranus is something unexpected. So something unexpected is bound to happen. They are in the sign of Aries, which is ruled by Mars, which can be more violence coming about. But I am glad that the sun is going to go over into Gemini, because Gemini is a little bit more lighthearted. And another thing is, we've already had early today, when the moon was like around 29 degrees of Scorpio. This was probably, in the wee morning hours, because let's see, it was probably about 5 hours ago. 5 hours ago, early morning, that we had the full moon. Because the moon just moved over here into Sagittarius, but the moon was here in the last degrees of Scorpio, opposing the sun. So we have a full moon happening right now, and it just started into its waning cycle. And so for the next few weeks, the moon is decreasing in light. But if you go out and look tonight or last night, the moon will appear completely full, because it is right across from the sun. So this is a very important time. And the moon being in the last degrees of Scorpio, I'm glad it's cleared that area of the zodiac, because that's a really dark placement. The moon being debilitated. And I'll tell you something else, for those of you that have any interest in astrology and the stocks and money, almost every time the moon is in Scorpio, we have a big drop in the stock market. Watch that. I've been watching that over from month to month. But this last one was a full moon, so it really had intensity. Okay, so enough about all of that. I want to now take so looking at this, remember the moon being in its waning phase from here on out for the next 2 weeks. It's time to finish up a lot of things you've already started. But the moon is still very, very bright right now. And what you pray upon, you will receive. By the time we come into the next new moon in 2 weeks, and when it's going to be early July, or the very end of June, I think, very end of June is going to be the new moon. And then we're going to come into where the moon is going to be growing in light. This will be from about June 30th through July 12th. That is the time that we're going to really, really step it up on our manifestation process, okay? Because this is when we can create it. I promise you it's going to happen. So let me go back to just looking at everyone. And I want some of you that haven't spoken before to speak up, not be afraid to talk. Remember what I said about what courage is? Courage is to feel the fear and do it anyway. Believe it or not, I used to be petrified of public speaking. And you think I've become a big ham lately. I actually love public speaking now because I love looking at audiences and seeing their eyes. And when they understand what I'm saying, I see the light bulb go off. And that inspires me to speak more and gives me more energy when I'm speaking. But I was petrified at first. I mean, petrified. The very first time I taught astrology class, I actually got laryngitis. That's how afraid I was. And of course I did it anyway, but that was the start of overcoming public speaking fears. So, so let me now go back to talking to everyone. And yes. One more thing I want to say, we have to have vision. That was another word that came to me. Create your vision Focus in on it. Remember in the very first class, I told you guys, one of the best ways to help yourself with visualization is to light a candle and stare into the flame. Fire can manifest things. Fire gives you power, fire gives you strength. And you know, we had Joe Vitale as our first speaker. He used to always use the word fire because it empowered him more. And you know, in Vedic rituals and such, they use the fire. They throw the ghee in the fire. They throw the seeds in the fire. Fire can help you manifest more. So don't forget, if you haven't been getting any results, have you been trying the meditation where you visualize what you want, looking into the fire, of course, visualizing it all through the day, what you focus in on, you create, and coming to a place where you feel like you are already there. Don't wish, hope, and believe. No. The key word here for manifestation is to know, not wish, hope, you know, oh, you're lucky. No. Manifestation is a knowingness, and it's a positive feeling of what are you going to feel like when you get what you want? What is that going to feel like? Feel it, know it, and that's how you're going to create it. So, and using the vision boards, the visionary technique of looking into the fire and seeing yourself with it, seeing yourself with that person you want to manifest, with the life you want to manifest, whatever it may be, the business you want to manifest. See yourself there, know it, feel it, be it, whatever you want, you got to be. I always tell people, if they want a good relationship, I tell them to list everything that they want to manifest in a relationship. And then they got to turn around and be it. If you want someone loyal, and that means loyalty in every area of your life, it's not just about love. If it's somebody that you want that's caring, loving, appreciative, you must be those things. Because what is a relationship? Once again, a reflection of you. That is why so many women in bad relationships, if you ask them, they have a bad sense of themselves. So what do? They attract somebody that's going to mirror exactly how they feel about themselves deep down. And that's exactly what we all have to change. Do you know, and I know all of you do know this, but I'm going to remind you, the first 5 years of our life actually formed our character. We're born with a certain innate nature, but the conditions in our environment, whether we felt loved, protected, or if we felt violated, whatever happened, that stays with you. And that's what's so hard to change. But we have to realize that any of these things that we have deep within our psychological subconscious has got to change. And by becoming aware of how you let those feelings control your future, you can let it go. It's up to you. And every time you react to something in a way that you don't want to react, you got to stand back and say, what caused that? Guarantee you there's something from your childhood that did that. Something, the way someone treated you, or the way you felt by what someone said when you were very small. Maybe you weren't heard. Maybe you felt that you weren't appreciated or loved. It's the hardest thing to overcome. You're going to attract relationships that are going to mirror exactly what you feel. So that has to change. And you know what? You can change yourself. You're the only one that can, but you got to become aware of what you've been doing to yourself, which is letting your past control your future. And we are here to change that. So with that, I want you guys to help me. What does this mean? Anybody have an idea of what that means? Because I don't think I'm completely clear on what that means, what I said. Maybe it is just that this is an angel walking on the path. because he doesn't leave any footsteps. And maybe we just need to ask for divine guidance from our angels, which can even be our higher self, the spirits that surround us. We do have spirits that are helping us. Let me tell you, this is a fact. People that have passed on, they're with you. They're with you. There's an aspect of their spirit that's with you. And maybe this is telling us that we have spiritual guidance that's going to guide us down our proper path, but we have to trust. But maybe somebody else has some more to add to these two pictures as to what we need to be feeling or knowing about what's to come or how we can help one another. Go ahead. I'm going to be quiet now and listen.
I think that to me, my first thought when I saw it was we're giving options. We're given options, and the footprints aren't there yet because we haven't chosen. And as soon as we choose, they would appear, we would make those footprints. So what is it that we want to choose?
I like that. Yes.
That's sort of my first thought when I saw that.
And you know what? That's what applies to you because you saw that,
right?
And I saw it as a angel, but somebody else might see it as something else. And really, all these definitions are not wrong or right. They're what we need to know from the image. What is it telling you? Anybody else? I love that. Thank you. That's very real. Mm-hmm.
When you showed the picture, what came to me was illumination.
Illumination.
Clarity. And I have been asking for light and clarity, but there's something about the photo. It seems like there is light. And of course, I'm totally about spirit guides and being receptive and feeling our support and our angels and sort of understanding that what's on the surface of life, the news, everything, that's not really the truth, that we have to go dig deeper. And that path will be illuminated.
I love that. I agree. Thank you. And you, of all people, you're a medium, you're a psychic. So you know what this means. Yes, especially to help all of us understand it more. Thank you.
Hi, it's Dawn.
Hi, Dawn.
I recently was watching some videos and they talked about the difference between humans and animals. And animals don't remember the past like we do, like we come to the door, they're always happy to greet us. And then the other thing is I think the reason why you don't see any footprints from the human in the snow is because if we're going to move into a new world or a new state of being, we have to forget the past because the past has patterns. The cells hold patterns in the body. And if we're constantly replaying that in the background of our subconscious mind, then it's going to come again. So we kind of have to forget about the past and start anew.
Oh, I think that is really powerful because this picture is what preceded it, which does deal with, in my opinion, letting the past go, burying the past. So, and it's funny, I started talking about the past and letting it go right before I opened the door for all of you guys to speak. So that is very real. And of course, very, very important that all of us recognize and know that. Anything else you want to say about that? That is really eye-opening. Thank you, Dawn.
No, that's it. That's just what, I've been watching some YouTube videos on Michael Miranda, and he has a ton of YouTube videos and he talked about that.
Wow. Well, thank you, because do you have any, what do you think about this? What do you think about that one? The funeral there.
I mean, that's what we're going through right now, right? Hasn't that been what the last 2 years have been about?
Yeah.
Like You could look at it, the baggage, you know, that we're carrying. It's let's call it the last 3 years, because it's been longer than 2.
Yeah. And I actually think it's the last 60 years to be really, I think it's the last 60 years. But aside from that, anyone else want to add something more to what we're talking about?
I don't know if this is true, but there seemed to be, he was in the middle of crossroads. Like it was one path and then there was another. And it seems like, you know, from the point of view of the person, you know, there's a crossroads coming up too. And, you know, with the man in the middle, he seemed to be like a guide, you know, like, and you're kind of following him. So it's like divine guidance. What you know, you've been talking about that. And, you know, just to follow our guidance, not let everything else get in the way. But like you said, to pray for guidance, and then, because we need, you know, from my perspective, what I've been doing in my personal life, and then of course, to look at everything else that's going on around us, you know, it's just not working. And that's what I've been saying to myself. It's like, if I've struggled to make my life a certain way and it's not working, I need guidance, and I need to just follow that, because to trust that sometimes is really, really hard, but that we have to do it.
Wow. I didn't even realize. Yeah, he is at a crossroads. He's right in the middle. And, you know, this is like where we got to learn to trust, as you say, Jenny, our higher guidance. And if we listen, it comes. It's just, you know, what happens with all of us, our ego and our mind starts getting involved and questioning. When we got an answer clear as day, then we go on and think, oh no, that's not right. You know? But I always tell people, if you take that initial gut knowing and don't argue with it, you got your answer. Mm-hmm. Anything else you want to add to that, Jenny?
No, you're absolutely right. Anyway, I'm just so happy to be here, and everything you say and what everyone else is saying is really, really helping me. So thank you.
Okay, wonderful, good. Well, does anyone want to tell us about any of the results that they've been getting since we started this, or where you are in this process?
Hi, Joni, this is Geeta. I would like to say something.
Good, yes.
So I feel so aligned. It's every time it's synchronicity happening with you. Every time you plan something, you start every date you choose. It's spot on, something in my life, and I'm running the best period, the Venus period in my life. Started 2016. So and ever since we started this series, so it's been wonderful, because like today I'm listening to everybody, and we are all still saying that, oh, we you know, we need to move on, but some of us have already moved on, but we don't recognize that. I think this is where I am. And because Rahu Ketu, you know, Aries is new beginnings, right? And then Libra is all about relationships, and a lot of our energy that was drained is because of relationships and Venus. And you just showed that chart, how Uranus, sudden and unexpected event related to relationships, and Uranus and Rahu is just going to transform us out of what is not working for us. Because Yeah, because we kind of stick to, we know this is not working, but we still stick to it. And this is what I felt since, and all the positivity that you bring, and I've been relating to you. I relate deeply to you. You're like a divine light, and yeah, always guiding, and everybody in this group, you know, everybody is such a divine light and positive energy. And I think today, if we just take some time and reflect, and we'll know that we've moved on. I mean, things have happened also, and I feel so good. And especially with this full moon, I was really waiting, because it's the most treacherous degree in the zodiac, 29 degrees Scorpio. And I remember all the work that was done by Rahu Ketu in the past couple of years. And I said, oh my God, this is the culmination. This is it. This is it. It's already happened. And I know we are being led, and we have moved on, and we just need to accept that we've moved on.
Yeah, I agree. This is like Scorpio is where the moon was full, does deal with deep, deep emotional things. So if any of you have been feeling a lot of emotional stuff yesterday and early on today, it's real, but it's time to let it go. Now we have the moon in out of Scorpio and in Sagittarius, which deals with truth and letting go of all those deep emotions that are from the past that hold us back. So it's all about this emotional stuff that that we hang on to, and you know what? We have to remind ourselves of this always, at least I do. You know, hanging on to the past is done. How can you change anything with the past? It's spilt milk. Leave it alone. Look to the future. What can we do now to change our lives and not be, oh, but I can't believe that he did that to me. Oh, I can't believe that they said that. So what? It's over with. It's done with. Move on, as Gita's saying. Let's look at the future and what we can do to change our lives in the future. Because if there must be something that everybody here wants to manifest in their life. Otherwise, they wouldn't be here, right? And we all have something. So I want all of you to achieve that something, no matter what it is. I want this to happen for every single person here. And we're here to support each other and know that it will happen. We just have to be attuned to the future, not hanging on to our past anymore. I think that's the big message today. And Scorpio's all about that. You know, Scorpio is the most emotional sign of the zodiac. And we just went to the very last degree of Scorpio for the full moon. And let me just say this is totally what we call in astrology Gandanta, which means feels like you don't have any control. You feel out of control. And it's also the stinger of the scorpion, which hurts. You know, it's spiteful, and it can deal with jealousy, the stinger. All of this is really impacting what this full moon's about. So if all of you can think of something that's kind of come up for you that you're thinking, why is this coming up in my mind right now? I don't want to think about that. You're right. It's the something that you need right now to eliminate in your life. Whatever it was that came up in the last 24 hours, that is what you are going to work on eliminating completely and totally in your life, because it's actually the essence of what's holding you back from your achievement of your goals. Why would you want to hang on to something like that that hurts? That's, but we all do it. So, I'm not going to say because of this, you're going to get rid of all negative thoughts and not think them anymore. There will be triggers all the time. But every time it comes up, you've got to recognize and realize that that's what's been holding you back, thinking about these negative past experiences that you have no control over. Let's start focusing on what we do have control over, which that gives us, this is using our energy wisely. And what did I say in one of these first classes? I said that every time you think a negative thought, it brings your vibrational frequency down. Why are we doing this to ourselves? Stop. So you know what? That's what you got to ask yourself every time it comes up. Why am I doing this to myself? We all will have triggers where it's going to come up, but every time we say, I choose not to let that direct my feelings, my emotions, or my behavior anymore. And little by little, it'll dissipate and it will go away. And little by little, but hopefully faster than ever, you're going to manifest what you want because you're not being controlled by the past and those feelings, those resentments, those fears. We can't allow that anymore. We are here as the light workers. The minute you go into all of the anger and what's going on in the world, you're not going to be helping humanity or yourself. And that's the bottom line, or that's what you all came here for. That's why I devised this class, to bring the light out in our lives, because there's never been a time, I think historically, that it's more important. There's more people on the planet now, and it's time to really help everyone, because a lot of people aren't going to do this. The mass majority is going to be consumed with fear and all the negative emotions that fear ignites, and that's all negative emotion. So choose differently. Say, I don't choose the fear. And yeah, maybe my YouTubes do have a lot of gloom and doom because it is actually what's going on in the world, but it's a fact. But we have the power to choose differently. So, but most of all, just remember this, we are here always to know our purpose. I'm reading off the shooting star thing again. Connect with our higher self and experience feelings of belonging. And as they say, when we come together as a group, we have more power, because that's adding all of our light together to help transform this world and heal the world. And know that, everything, and I know there's no such things as accidents, right? And everything is happening for a reason. And I always have to believe, and I do, the reason's always good, even though it may be some awful thing, because life, all of this is truly not real. I know that's really hard if you're going through a lot of pain, but in the essence of eternity, this is a second, and we are here and we are eternal. Don't forget that. We never die. And yes, we can become very, very much engrossed in the pain and the hurt, and we will all feel pain and hurt as we're here on this planet. Why? Because, people will die, and it's something that is a good thing, because death is a beautiful thing. But the reason why it hurts is we'll miss that person in that form. We won't see them again. But don't forget, we don't ever die. We will be with them again, maybe in a different form, but we don't, we are eternal. And that's what puts a perspective on some of the suffering that I see in the world. That's what helps me with dealing with it, because, like we talked about last week, the school shootings and all that. I mean, I don't proclaim to know the answer for that. And how can that be something good? I don't claim to know the answer to that, but everything is evolving to something better. And what I always say, I know I've told you this before, but I love this analogy. You know, when a baby's born, the baby's crying and everyone around is rejoicing. But the baby's crying because it's back here again. It's like, oh no, not again. But when someone dies, they're rejoicing while everyone around is crying. So, you know, it just puts us perspective on this world and these short incarnations that we have here and what we're here to learn. Okay. So anyone else want to, I see over here in the chat, you guys are going to town about Marcy and who else is, yeah, husband's gone. Is this been, how have you fared in this week? Are you looking to exciting things to do? Are you guys still here?
Marcy had to scoot to another webinar, but wasn't it you, Deborah, that
Yeah.
didn't you have your husband out of town too?
Yeah, my husband's been out of town. I had like 2 bouts of COVID because I had COVID and then I took this medication and I got a rebound effect. So for like 3 weeks, I've kind of been in this like very internal process, I would say. And so I've gotten a lot of rest, that's for sure. And I'm not really sure what's happening. And that's why I love this class so much, because I feel like it's been sort of a very grounded rudder, because I am going through some kind of deep transformation.
Mhm.
And I'm kind of just letting my husband go through what he's going through, and I'm just focusing on me. And, you know, when you're in a relationship, you get very caught up in taking care of your partner and all of that. And this has been all about me. I mean, I've been very blessed. My daughter and my son are around, so I've been very good company and very well cared for. But I'm really in it. Like, I don't have perspective right now. And like I was saying last week, I'm in this Rahu Venus period, which I guess, and Joni, I don't really understand all the transits, especially what's happening, but it has been a very tumultuous few years. So I guess I have until June 23. So I'm trying to just like take one step at a time and not really look too far to figure things out.
Well, the word protection, I think, is important for you. You got to protect yourself.
Mhm.
And take care of yourself, because as we always note in these classes, we can't change other people. We never will. But when you change, that's what will have an effect on others. It does. And so I'm so glad that you're taking care of yourself, you're nurturing yourself, because you can't take care of other people unless you're healed. And then you can take better care of people, and ultimately you change, they change, and the relationship heals and gets better. That's, and I feel like that's the whole process of what you're in right now. May not look like it from where you are right now, but everything I just said is applying to your relationships. So it's going to get better. But there's, you know, it's this whole healing process that you're going through right now. And that might be one of the major reasons why you came here to this lifetime. Relationships, we learn the most about ourselves, don't we? Yes. They're a reflection, even though, you know, we can't blame the other person for everything. We had a part in it. And that's how we learn about ourselves. Okay. Yes. So.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah.
That feels very, I resonate totally. Thank you. That was beautiful.
Yeah, you're going to heal this. You're going to see. And this is a very, very important lifetime for this. Okay.
Yeah. Thank
Yeah. So good. Good. Bless it and be happy for, in other words, be grateful for the learning experience and the growth that it's going to bring about for you and your husband, no matter what happens. But there's a healing, and that's what you came here for. Okay.
you. Definitely. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Anyone else want to share their experiences? Look at it's 1:08 right now. I love that. That's a mystical number. I just happened to look up at the clock. Everything in Vedic, we always look at that number. The beads on the mala, there's 108 beads. It's the mystical number. There's 108 navamshas in astrology. It's a power number. So whoever talks now has something very spiritual and powerful to say, not to put pressure on you.
Well, since everybody's quiet, I want to bring up the COVID thing
Good.
because it seems like this is a subject that's affecting, and we're in a sense recovering. Over the last 3 years, I'm not vaccinated. I didn't want to get vaccinated. I've had COVID in the house, never got it. And then we finally took our vacation and we came home and had COVID. And the recovery of this has been like nothing I've ever experienced. I'm in my early 50s, I'm healthy. But I can tell you, there is something very unnatural about the virus feeling in the body. And I don't know how Deborah, going through this, having a relapse and so forth, but in my 2 cents to add it, just in case this helps somebody, is it does feel like it gets into your nervous system. And it's kind of terrifying because you kind of feel like it's just not like a normal bug that you just shrug off. You feel like, I guess I can relate it maybe to meningitis, where it gets in and it's in places in your system that it shouldn't be there. And so I still I'm feeling better, and it's been a couple weeks. And I haven't taken anything that I should, what are they going to give you?
Yeah.
I've taken all kinds of vitamins and stuff, but I hope that maybe with all of this, the path ahead and the funeral clock, maybe I don't believe we're maybe done with what this is. This hasn't made its way through yet. And I was in a lot of denial, thinking that this in some regards wouldn't touch my life. But it's touched so many people. A lot of people have passed away. It seems like it touches and goes through people's symptoms so independently different. One person has it and it's not that big of a deal. The next person has it and they're in the hospital and they can't breathe. And, it's just one of these things that I think we're all carrying a lot of fear from the virus.
Mhm.
And I certainly don't think it's going to take me out, but I am concerned about long-term leftover crap in my nervous system. And there was a chiropractor that my mom shared a video that kind of talked about how the vagus nerve, when the vagus nerve is, not gets affected and when we're sick. And I know I'm kind of going on way too long about this, but I just feel like there's just so many people right now that this is still making its way through. And I feel that we all need to be open and understand that as a woman, especially when you're used to taking care of people in your home, when you get sick like this, it's not easy to fill that space. You're not able to function.
Mhm.
And now you have to really be mindful of yourself. And so
Well,
I hope everybody is well and stays well. And Joni, I always am grateful for the information that you bring to the table. And, my husband's in the stock market business, so I'm always happy to lend the knowledge that the astrology and her insight has always been. This is actually an exciting time when it gets nasty. And the nastier it gets, the more opportunity there's going to be to be had. So I'm raising my vibration on the opportunities that are coming. And I do hope that you've had some response from Coinbase. You've been on my mind.
Yeah.
And,
Thank you. Not yet, but I'll tell you something that I have found that's giving me the ounce of hope is this. Whenever you lose something, when Mercury is retrograde, you always get it back. I have found this notoriously, I know that doesn't make sense to anyone, but you know, throughout my 40 years of working with astrology, it has always worked for me. And I lost that when Mercury was retrograde. So that's one thing. But you know what comes up for me, Michelle, about this whole horrible experience of getting so ill that at, you know, some point you're like, gosh, is this going to shorten my life? Am I going to, you know, is this, it's a wake up for you.
Mhm.
It's a huge wake up for you to realize that your time here is so important. Don't underestimate that. Don't
Right.
underestimate the quality of your life and your health. And you're here to do something about this. And it's time for you to get really serious and wake up with what you're here to do. That's what I'm getting the whole time you were talking. I don't know if that resonates at all with you, but that's what I kept hearing.
No,
And
it does. It brings your lifespan to the front of,
yeah,
because you
yeah,
really do, you don't, I don't know. I mean, I think COVID scared the hell out of all of us in the very beginning, just the unknown.
yeah,
And we all did what we could to deal with it in our own way. And the divisiveness and the untruths of the world that we're facing all together,
mhm,
and the love that we're trying to have and hold through it all.
right,
And then still, it's so distasteful, like you said, and I resonate with what you're saying. Is like, my husband put on Batman last night, the
mhm.
latest Batman. I was like, I looked at him and I said, I cannot watch this. This is so damn dark. It's ridiculous. It is, I felt like it was just going into my system, and
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't want this darkness. I don't need any more darkness in my life. Shut that crap off. I'd rather go sit in the bedroom. So it is important that we, like you say, come together and share how we love one another. We want to be there to support each other. And we're all holding that space that's going to be made right for you with Coinbase, that you shared something intimately devastating with us. And each one of us, we all are going through different things. And we're holding that same space, trying to get people through whatever they're facing. Like you said, I appreciate it, because I have had moments where I'm like, gosh, am I going to shed this thing? It's been like 3 weeks, and I wake up in the morning and my low back is killing me. And it's just as if I can visualize this thing is attached to some part of my nervous system. And I'm like, you cannot, I did not invite you into my life. You need to be out of my system.
Yeah.
Eject mode. So I'm ready to hit the eject button. I'm raising my vibration because, like you said, the planets are going to align up. It's going to get a little nuts, more nuts than things have been in our world, but good things will come. And that one picture in both of those pictures that you pulled had animals in them, which is interesting, right?
Yeah.
And both of them acted as if, well, life just evolves, right? And they're just so distracted. They don't even really, it doesn't matter what's happened. It doesn't matter that someone's being carried out dead. It doesn't matter that this man is on this path sweeping, because the deer's like, well, I'm just doing my thing. And as humans, we just don't take life so easy as animals do.
Mhm.
And they are the gift that reminds us to be present, and that it is a fleeting time, that we're here and we're gone.
Mhm. I
So anyway, I've talked way too much. You guys are awesome.
No, you didn't. You needed to talk. Yeah, I mean, that's heavy duty getting sick like that and not knowing, what to expect and what it's all about. And most of all, where did all that come from? I mean, we still don't know. And you got to wonder when you get sick like that, what is the purpose of all of this? Why did we have to go through all this? Is there a purpose? And of course there is. I'm not going to say I know what it is, but everything happens for a divine reason. And it's time for us all to wake up, that we got to get serious about waking up. And we don't have all the time left in the world like we thought we did when we were kids, so we got to get going. And I think that's what it's trying to teach you, Michelle. You got to get going. You have a lot of gifts and talents, and you're here to do something really, really important. So that's what I think COVID is impartial. I'm sure there's other things. There's some sort of residue that you need to understand with that disease, what it's about. And, you know, sometimes you can kind of understand it from your astrology, what planet may be afflicted, and that might be the planet that whatever that planet's about, you need to work more on healing, whether it's an afflicted Mercury would be the communications, whether it's afflicted Venus, it's relationships. Just basically, you know what the planets rule in the body too. And if you have a planet that's aspected by malefics or combust, then that's the planet that's got what you need to be working on in healing. Even though it feels like it's an impossible feat when you feel so bad and your back hurts as bad as it does, it's like all this stuff, you know, is taken away because I'm in so much pain. I don't have the energy to work on myself. I know we've all been there, but I'll tell you something that I feel like has really helped me at my, the sauna I got. I built a sauna, always wanted one. I do it every day. And I mean, I sweat so profusely in that thing. I feel so good. I feel like it is totally eliminating so much poisons and built up stuff from so long. So I don't know if you have access to a sauna or anything like that, but sweating can help you get some of that stuff out through your pores, not just through all the other means that we eliminate stuff. And maybe that could be helpful. I don't know. It's not fun. I got to say, getting in that sauna, it is a little torturous, but when I get out, it's like, I know it's doing something good. So maybe that can help.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. But take care of yourself and know that this is the universe's way of saying, get busy. All right.
I hear you. I got to finish the university. I'm at the end. I know.
Yeah, you have been, oh my God, Michelle, you've been one of my first people in the university.
I know.
So
my
proud
dad
of you.
passed and I fell off the wagon and I
Okay.
hadn't gotten back. And I told Shree that I was going to finish it this year. That's my
Yay,
goal.
good.
So,
Good. Well, maybe that's one of the things that this COVID had to wake you up to. Get on the ball, get it finished. You're going to be such an asset to teaching and helping other people with all of this. And the most important thing to know is it never expires. You get to come on, be part of everything, be part of the classes that we're having too. Tomorrow we're going to talk about 2023 and semester 4. You should be there.
yeah, I'll click on to that. I saw the invite today, so I'll get back in. I need to do some review.
You don't have to say anything, just listen, you know,
Right.
don't feel like, well, I'm not there yet. No, just get part of it and listen, and it'll be
And if
worth it.
anybody here is thinking about doing Joni's University, if you haven't, it's worth it. It's, you know, you get in and do it at your own speed, and life throws curveballs at you and you fall away and you can come back in. And so, but I've never stopped watching and, you know, doing the astrology. It's not like I completely let it go. You never do. Once you get the bug, you're stuck, you know?
Yeah.
So we love it that you bring it up and make it a part of this, because I think it just brings it all together.
Right.
You know?
Right. I'm just afraid that people that don't know astrology might get perturbed, but I'm trying to make it so that it makes sense to everyone, not just astrologers. And really, I think everyone should be using astrology. You know, you don't have to take it to such a in-depth level that we all do, but just, you know, just to know when you got a full moon and a new moon, you know, when the moon is almost full, hey, you put your house on the market and the moon is waxing and it's a few days, maybe 3 days before the full moon, you'll sell your house in a minute. Stuff like that. You don't have to be an astrologer. It's like working with the cycles of the sun and the moon. I mean, come on, that's what directs the whole planet here. We wouldn't be alive if it weren't for the sun and the moon. I mean, it's just so symbolic that the sun is the time of the masculine energy, the light, the day, when we get things done. The moon is the feminine energy. It's time to relax, retrieve, to heal from the day and reflect, because the moon is that power of reflecting the light of the sun. So as we go into the evening hours, it's time when we reflect. Even when we go to sleep at night, our dreams are a true reflection of what our day's been about. So you see the whole symbology and how astrology is so much a part of our lives, whether you take it to the serious level that I do, or you just use the waxing and waning moon. These are important tools that help us in our life. I know they do, because, you know, I would always direct people about selling their house. And it always worked. I actually have a friend here in Dallas. She became part of the university, Cynthia Novak. She used to always tell people if they were selling their house and it wasn't selling, take it off the market, but put it back on like about 3 days before the moon's full. And always the house would sell. It's just little fun things like that that you can use using astrology. And really, it's just the cycle of our planet. So
the moon being Gandanta that you said, it just moved out of Scorpio. This morning on Facebook, I've got a friend that lives in Montana, and he was saying that Yellowstone has been closed, and there's different flooding events that have been happening where it's taken out bridges and stuff. And so, you know, that was, like you say, kind of like that movement through caused a lot of destruction, a lot of road slides and stuff. So
yeah,
I believe it. You've made a believer out of me, and I've been a fan for a long time. So
thank you
yeah.
so much. I appreciate that. I got really excited. I got to tell you, to see you here in these classes. I've missed seeing you.
I know it's been a while.
We worked a lot together, and you know, in Sedona, I saw you there with your husband, and
Yeah.
and I'm telling you that the astrology really does predict the stock market and everything. It really,
Yeah,
really
no, I'm
does.
super excited. Like I said, for you know, this is what you're supposed to do when it's the time when it's so scary and people are so concerned about their money going down and stuff. And it's like, well, this is when you've been able to set aside that money, or this is when you're going to get new clients, because people they're nervous and they can't do it themselves. And
Right.
so I feel like I'm just filled with all that positive energy, because I know that, like you said, it's just cycle.
Mhm.
And
Well,
maybe it's not going to turn as quick, but it will come back, and it will be a really good another move in the
It
market.
will. It absolutely will. We can't think about all the dire things. It's like everything is progressing and changing, and it's going to make it better. It is. So yeah, thank you for
Yeah, thank you guys.
all that
Sorry
you
I took up
share.
so much time.
No, thank you so much. And yeah, and giving a good little boost to my university, which is my pride and joy. Thank you. Except for, I always say, and I'll always say this, my my university is one of the greatest accomplishments of my life, but my 3 sons are my greatest accomplishment of my life. So, and I gave a really candid interview about my life for the first issue of the magazine, which is going to come out in July, which is, we chose the name just because people will find the magazine better. It feels kind of gross that I use my name, but people said, oh no, that's what you got to do. So the magazine's Joni Patry's Astrology Insights. So so anyway, if you guys check that out, and you know what, I'm going to give this plug right here. If any of you guys want to write for it, any of you writers or have books or anything that you want to maybe even put some stuff in the magazine, we'd love to have you. And if you want to do any advertisements for your business or anything, we'd love to have you. So all that stuff is opening up, and I'm really, really excited about the magazine too. And this new start of semester 1 that's going to start July 6th, that auspicious day that I'm telling everyone to use for manifestation. Okay. All right. We have like about 3 minutes left here. Anyone? And by the way, Michelle, somebody's giving you something that supplement you can take here in the notes. So
Okay.
yeah, I'm open to everything that can help. So anyone else want to have any last words or anything for a few minutes? No?
Do
Okay.
you want to
well,
bring up July 6th chart so that like it maybe as a reminder?
Okay, good idea. Let me show you. Boy, a lot of people have dropped off. Okay, share. Okay, so here is what I feel is so important about July 6th. Let me. It'll be interesting to see what astrologer, whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. What Pam's going to say about all of this stuff. She's coming from the Western astrology viewpoint. It'll be very, very interesting to me to see what she says. Okay, July 6th. All right. So here's what I love about this day. Of course, Saturn's in Aquarius, Jupiter's in Pisces, Mars is in Aries, Venus is in Taurus, Mercury is in Gemini. And I like the way Mercury has really kind of got embedded into the sign of Gemini, because earlier on July 2nd, you actually have the moon in Cancer, which that means the moon will even be in its own sign of rulership. But Mercury will be like 0 degrees or something. I want it to be, Mercury is all about learning, education, teaching, writing, everything to do with learning. So I wanted Mercury to be particularly strong on that day. And the reason why I like the moon in Virgo, there's 2 reasons. One, that Virgo is ruled by Mercury, so it empowers Mercury all the more about learning. But most of all, it gets a full aspect by Jupiter by opposition, and Jupiter expands awareness. And I really like the moon being in the nakshatra Hasta. Hasta means intelligence, grasping onto ideas, and Hasta is actually ruled by the moon. So I thought that this was the day, but really, when you have all these planets in their own signs, you know, it's going to be great. Here's another thing. The moon is increasing in light. See, as it's moving away from the sun, it's a waxing moon. That's another thing. I mean, you could probably go to where the moon, you don't want the moon in Scorpio. Okay, it's debilitated. You don't want the moon with K2. Yeah, so going to the full moon would be a nice time as well, which would be, but then again, you might lose Venus being in Taurus because it's moving pretty fast. So I just surmised July 6th is the best. Use it for whatever you want to manifest. Do some manifestation techniques, look into the candle. Start creating your vision board, start moving towards the place where what you want to manifest has already happened in your life. Feel it, know it. And I do want some of you guys to report back. I know some of you have had some results, but you're just not sharing them. But I don't, you know, I understand, because sometimes you don't want to reveal too much about yourself. I know people, you know, just because we feel like people are judging us, but you know what? I want y'all to realize we're not going to judge anyone in this circle of people. And if there is judgment, then you know what? You're not going to be interested in this circle of people. That's all I have to say. And, but all these planets are so strong. I mean, this is rare. This is really, really rare that this happens. You got to have Saturn, you know, and most of the time Saturn's not going to be in Aquarius or Capricorn. And then you have to have Jupiter where it's either in Pisces or Sagittarius. And that takes a long time in between times to get those 2 slower planets there while you have all the other planets in their sign of rulership. Anyway, I know this day is a day that we can all use to our highest advantage to manifest what we want. So with that, I think I'll close. So yes, so next week, same time, same place. I want to hear some more results from everyone. And if you're going through a difficult time, we want to know too, so we can help you. Okay. This is important that we uplift and share with each other and empower each other. Okay. That's what we're here for. So thank you everyone for joining us today. As usual, I love you guys, and I'll see you next week. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Joni.
Thanks, Joni.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.